Right, well, hello everybody. Thank you very much for coming to join us. Part of this evening's presentation is to talk about some of the stuff we've been doing ready for Ad-Astra for 2024. I'm assuming that some of you listening here in the live chat, or all of you, already use Ad-Astra, but for the benefit of those who are watching this who don't use Ad-Astra, just a bit of an intro to the product and why it's a subscription product and what we do with it. So Ad-Astra, knowledge base for your ship. It adds all that information from the background from when you're flying around in Elite Dangerous. It has a knowledge base about the things you can interact with, the systems, the number of jumps you can do, all those kind of things. And we, unlike the live packs, which are the control packs, it is a subscription pack, mainly because we try and update it every single year. We bring new features to it. So we brought the expeditions feature. We've got the features for plot a course to my nearest material traders, the raw, encoded, etc. material traders. And every single year we try and look at some aspect of playing Elite that people need more information on, and how we can get more information within the soundscape and within the playing of the game without people having to tab out of the game and start looking at things like, you know, websites, looking up information, researching. So we use the voice control and the voice responses to start giving some sort of, I say, immersive. I mentioned it earlier on one of the demos that I did. It's a word that lots of streamers use. It's immersion. Well, no, this tries and keeps you in the theatre of the cockpit, so you're not taken out of that environment of flying your ship. And we looked last year at one of the areas of pain that people have when they're playing Elite, particularly. And a lot of people like trying to get into engineering, but it's fairly daunting. It's a great big sort of ocean of things you can dive into. There's all of these engineers and the blueprints and the materials you need for them, and finding out, other than by trial and error, what to do is actually relatively tricky. A lot of people use third-party websites. You can glance around in your cockpit and you can start reading the codex in your cockpit, but really to min-max it, as some people like doing, or to get the most out of it, people tend to head out to third-party websites and start researching things. So we felt that the Ad-Astra product and the Ad-Astra crew member was a perfect way of trying to keep you within the cockpit whilst you're flying and not have to tab out. So we looked at the engineering, we looked at the pain people were having with that one, and we looked at some of the features we have already. So we've already got in there a few things like plotting a course to your materials trader, something we added a year ago or so, so that we can get people to a material trader. That's the doing of engineering. You know, get to a material trader, start trading up, start trading down for the various materials to try and get your blueprints satisfied. We've also got the commands, long-standing commands in the profiles, where you can say, you know, plot a course for Yuri Ishmak or Felicity Farsia even. Bloopers included for free in this stream. Anyway, so we've got those activities in there, but what we don't have is the knowledge to go with it. So we took a look at it and we looked at all the materials, the blueprints, and we started educating Ad-Astra about all the various blueprints. So we started looking at the fact that, okay, there's armor, there's frameshift drives, there's the lasers, there's the multi-cannons, and then there's the different set of modifications you can do for these things. So you've got the long range, or you've got the, you know, blast resistant, you've got the thermic resistant, all the things you might want to do. We looked at those, and we taught Ad-Astra about all the recipes. The second thing we did is, okay, well, in order to do that, we also need to know what's on your ship. All the materials that you've got, and you can probably see just over my shoulder here there is actually a panel which I'll go through later on the customizer, but we do have access to all that information. The journal, the API that's opened up to third-party developers, gives you that information when you first log in to the game, and we're able to read that, and then we're actually able to keep up to date with it as a result of, you know, when you trade, when you swap materials at a trader, when you scoop them, when you scan them, these numbers change, and we've actually managed to program Ad-Astra to keep an eye on all those materials, so at any point in time she knows exactly what you've got on your ship. As we were doing that, we realized, well, if we're going to do the materials, we might as well do the cargo, and we might as well do all the consumables being the stuff you use on foot, things like your grenades, your med kits, your e-breaches, and you might as well do the materials for on foot as well. And working with Nocti, this amounts to 743 items. that we're tracking live through Ad-Astra. On top of that, each one of them has a description in the codex. We looked at using the exact descriptions from the in-game codex for all of these items so that you can get more information on them. A lot of the codex entries actually tell you where you can get these items. A lot of people don't read their way all the way through them in the codex, but when you ask for descriptions or you look at descriptions of them, quite often it'll tell you where you can get these, whether it's on a planet, it's through mining, through scanning certain high wakes, those kind of things. So there's a lot of information hidden in there that's not easily accessible to you guys, the players. So we looked at all of those, we looked at the blueprints, and then we also looked at your ship. And one of the things we realised is that we've got information on what engineering you've currently got in your ship, what modules you've got fitted, which engineering you've applied to it, and also what level within that engineering. So you can have a grade 3 long-range frameshift drive, but you might have only halfway done that one. So we started putting together some tools which help you not only find out about the blueprints and ask how many materials are there, but fully engineer your ship as well. So you can actually min-max, if you really wanted to, find out how much you need of each of the materials to hit the maximum level in grade 5 for any of these. So many months of work, an awful lot of audio from the team, a lot of editing from Paul, and we glued all this information together in Ad-Astra, and then we realized we hit a little bit of a problem, and this is, how do you ask about it? And if you imagine, if I was to ask to tell me about the grade 5 long-range frameshift drive, and then multiply that up by all of the permutations and combinations, it started ballooning. And actually, if you wanted to make it kind of natural speaking, we had to do a lot of variations for people who say certain phrases in different ways. And it balloons immediately to 150, 140, 50,000 lines in the profile, which doesn't work, because when you fire the profile up, no, it's over that side, there we go, fire the profile up, that would be then taking 10, 20, 30 seconds to load up the profile, while it loaded in all of these voice triggers. So one of the things we had to invent for Ad-Astra for 2024 was a dialogue tree, so that you can initiate a conversation with Ad-Astra, and then she asks you the questions that she needs to know to give you the answers. So it's a challenge and response side of things. It's much more chit-chat. So that she asks you the relevant questions so that she can give you the distilled answer that you're looking for. It's something new for the packs. We've done it a little bit with chit-chat, but this is much more extensive. So one of the things we've been looking at is that when, for instance, you ask for modifications for your frameshift drive, the only thing it's listening for after that then, in response to the next question she asks you, is the list of things that are possible for frameshift drives. And this has meant actually re-engineering this and a lot of the other code. We've managed to make it a lot leaner and much faster to start up. And we haven't got that 10, 20-second startup, which would have happened if we'd done it the old-fashioned way. So we've had to invent some new technology to do this. We've also worked fairly closely with Voice Attack. So Gary over at Voice Attack, actually, you may have noticed today, has released an update. I think it's 1.12. Of Voice Attack, and he's put a couple of extra little features in for us that has made this a lot simpler. So it is going to be one requirement for people. They will need to update their Voice Attack as well as install Ad-Astra. The other thing we've been looking at with the design of these things is how Ad-Astra fits into your cockpit. So at the moment, quite often when Ad-Astra responds, she's just another one of the crew on your ship, but you've already got engineering and you've got science and you've got the various roles. One of the things we're trying to do with Ad-Astra now is actually get the relevant crew member from your AI control crew to ask Ad-Astra questions. And it's something we've rolled into this one, is that your engineering member of your crew should be asking Ad-Astra on your behalf. So there's a bit of banter between the packs, and this is the start point in that, but it's something we've had to introduce for the Ad-Astra update for 2024. So there's the thinking behind it. There's how we've engineered it. About 10,000 lines of code later and 2,500 sounds. As of this morning, thanks to Goose's testing and breaking a few things at 1 o'clock in the morning this morning, we managed to slay the very last bug that Goose found. We think we're ready, and we're looking and aiming for a Sunday release on this one. We've got the manual to write. And actually, this presentation is going to form part of the manual. I suppose the bit you're waiting for is for me to actually start talking to it. Now, bloopers aside, Sometimes I don't speak as clearly as I should do at the microphone. And if you see me glancing over to one side, it's because over on the screen over there is this that you can see behind me. So we'll start with the basics. We added in the counts for everything. So give me 1 second. How much arsenic do I have?
You have 8 arsenic.
How much cadmium do I have?
You have 19 cadmium.
How many chemical manipulators do I have?
You have 0 chemical manipulators.
Okay, so that's the start point. So the second stage on this one that we came up with was, tell me about chemical manipulators.
Component found in ships, frequently used by haulage vessels. Destroyed haulage vessels can be scavenged from the aftermath of combat in shipping lanes. Known to be salvaged from signal sources in high-security systems. Chemical manipulators provide a means to control a chemical process.
Okay, so there it doesn't just tell you about it, but it tells you a little bit more about how to find it. And this is all straight from the codex as well. That's just for the materials. But you can also, as part of the update we've done, ask about some of the commodities you've got in here. How many microbial furnaces do I have?
You have 0 microbial furnaces.
Tell me about microbial furnaces.
Produced by industrial systems, consumed by all systems, except industrial systems. All space installations are reliant on recycled water, so water purification is vital for survival. Some units are set up to medicate the purified water to maintain the correct mood of inhabitants.
Okay, fair enough. And you can go right down to your consumables. So you can say, how many frag grenades... Oops, put my teeth back in. How many frag grenades do I have?
You have 100 frag grenades.
Yeah, I've been doing quite a bit of combat recently. Tell me about frag grenades.
An explosive weapon that damages nearby targets upon detonation.
Okay, and we can go right down also to the on-foot materials. Now, it's worth saying at this stage, this is a phased set of releases. So phase 1 is very much targeted at your ship and your SRV, and talking to Ad-Astra in that. Now, at the moment, we don't allow access to Ad-Astra when you're in your suit, mainly because your suit's quite tight and quite small, and there's not enough room to squeeze Ad-Astra in there as well. One of the things we introduced with exobiology was the ability for your suit to actually radio back to the ship to get information on some of the exobiology, because if you haven't got, for instance, Vega in your suit or Astra in your suit, but you've got maybe Helix, you ask about the exobiology items and they need to radio the ship to get access to the database. So we introduced that with exobiology, and in phase 2 of this, coming in later in the first quarter of this year, we're actually going to be opening up all of this information when you're in your suit as well. But what you can ask about in here, there's one here called Cat Media. Tell me about Cat Media.
A collection of amusing, shareable digital media often spanning several centuries.
Okay. I mean, it's also completely useless for anything, including engineering, but I suppose it's an entertaining thing to get from cupboards when you're on planet surfaces. So that's the basics. That's the knowledge about all the items. That's 743 items you can interact with while you're flying a spaceship. So it's all the materials, it's all the cargo, it's all the consumables, it's all the on-foot items. So to supplement this, we then started teaching the Ad-Astra pack all about blueprints, and I've just popped them up on screen here, and you'll see here in the engineering section under Ad-Astra, this is a list of all the blueprints broken down by the module type, the modification, the level, and it shows you in here how many of these things you've got, and right down at the end it'll actually tell you how many of this particular, here we go, how many of this particular blueprint you can make. So you'll see down here, and I was talking about frameshift drive earlier, if I scroll down to, and you can see quite how many we've had to teach here. You can right click on here, filter by this value, and you can see fast boot, long range and shielded. I'm actually interested in long range, so I've filtered this one down, and it shows me that for grade 3 I need phosphorus, chemical processes and wake solutions. The next stage for us was to introduce the voice control of this one, so that you could actually ask about a particular blueprint. So we can ask Ad-Astra, access blueprint database.
Astra?
Accessing blueprint and manifest data. Which module are you inquiring about?
FSD.
Which modification do you want?
Long range.
What grade, from 1 to 5?
3.
Grade 3. Long range. FSD. Is provided by Felicity Farcia, Colonel Bruce Decker, and also Elvira Martuk, Professor Palin, Mel Brandon, Chloe CDC. You need 1. Phosphorus. And have 173. 1. Chemical processes. And have 41. And also require 1. Strange wake solutions. And have 6. Would you like to know more about the missing items?
Yes, please.
You need phosphorus. Collected on planet surfaces and from asteroids. Phosphorus is a highly reactive element used for some metallurgical production and for fertilizers. Chemical processes. Component found in ships, frequently used by combat-oriented vessels. Known to be salvaged from signal sources, galvanizing alloys or alloys with additional protection from corrosion. Strange wake solutions. Collected during basic scan, frequently pulled from haulage vessels. A popular method for hiding sensitive data is to embed it within innocuous information. Such methods are usually quite sophisticated, but occasionally will be found by chance and can be processed by those with the right skills and equipment.
Thank you.
There we go. And you actually heard, I think that was Gamma in my ear saying thank you to Ad-Astra for the information. So that's the nuts and bolts. And you can see there how the flow works of the conversation, that we start the conversation, Ad-Astra asks, we reply. So there's much more forwards and backwards between you and your AI companion. I mean, it is simulated AI. I mean, the whole point of this one is it's supposed to feel like you have an interactive computer in your ship. Now, I can't see much nodding, but hopefully there's some nodding in the background, that it's vaguely useful. So that's a start point. You can ask about individual blueprints. The next stage of this one is, okay, well, I want to be able to engineer the items on my ship, and I'm going to switch to the modules tab here. This is a tab I've not shown you yet on that side. This actually is an index of all the modules that are currently on your ship, and highlighted in yellow there are all the ones I've started engineering. And you can see here I've got multi-cannon up to grade 5. It's only a quarter of the way through grade 5, and I've actually got a frameshift drive here that's currently at the top of grade 3, so I've still got grade 4 and grade 5 to go. Now, these lists can get really long. If you wanted to engineer something all the way to the top of grade 5, it's in some cases 12 different materials. And actually, I don't care about the ones that I've got. So one of the pieces of intelligence that we've given Ad-Astra is the ability to understand what you've got in your ship. So if you're asking for the maximum items
100%, Commander.
Okay, I should have turned you off listening. You don't need to do that. Right, you don't need to know about the things you've already got. You need to know about the things you're missing, and that's one of the pieces of intelligence we've given. And if I do it on screen first, I can see the frameshift drive here, the long-range one. If I right-click that, you can see an item pops up, says materials required to complete this item. And if I... Here we go. And if I pop that up, this actually tells me what my shortfall is here. So it says I need 6 manganese, but I've got sufficient in my inventory. I need 10 arsenic, but I've only got 2 more required. So it's bringing up a list here of what I've got and what I need. But if I have a look at my power plant here, my power plant isn't engineered in any way at all, and I right-click that one, because it's not engineered, it requires me to actually select which option I want. And on this one, I can select armoured. And you'll see here the list that pops up is actually slightly longer, because this is all the materials that you need to get up to grade 5. And we estimate based on the number of, or Ad-Astra estimates based on the number of rolls you need. I know there's an RNG element to it within each of the grades, how many more are needed to get to 75% in that grade, which is what you need to be able to move on to the next one. Apart from grade 5, where she estimates that you need all of grade 5 to get it right up to the tippy top. This might need some refinement, but we from testing so far, this is pretty accurate. So yes, you can also control this by voice. Access full engineering database. Oh, I turned her audio off, didn't I? Because she was chatting in the background. There we go. There's a blooper for you. Access full engineering database.
Astra?
Accessing blueprint and manifest data. Which module are you inquiring about?
FSD.
Which modification do you want?
Long range.
Grade 5, long range. FSD is provided by Felicity Farcia, Elvira Martuk, Mel Brandon. You need 2. Arsenic. 6. Chemical distilleries. 10. Chemical manipulators. 5. Eccentric hyperspace trajectories. 10. Data mine wake exceptions.
Thanks.
Tell me when I have all of those items.
Acknowledged.
Right, on to the next feature. Obviously, I don't know how good your memory is, but that list that's just been read out loud, it's very easy to forget these things. So the next stage of what we add is the ability to pin or add to a watch list. So at the end of that, I actually asked Ad-Astra to add it to a watch list. And up here, there we go, up there, you'll see there's a watch tab, and it's actually added that list, the 10 arsenic, the 6 chemical distilleries, etc., to a watch list. And the way the watch list works is it sits there, it remembers it between sessions, but as soon as you've satisfied this and docked, Ad-Astra will pipe up and tell you you have all of the items from your watch list. So you can pin these items. So if you're trying to get to the maximum of grade 5 on your frameshift drive, it adds to the watch list, Ad-Astra monitors it, you dock, she tells you, right, I've got all of these things. And it will clear the watch list down again for you if you need. You can actually clear the watch list by voice, and you've got a clear list button here in the customizer as well. Clear my watch list.
Acknowledged.
There we go. Watch list is empty. So in terms of the basics, you can do everything via voice, and we've also made sure you can do absolutely everything on the new engineering tab under Ad-Astra. You will notice there are 3 extra ones here: Carrier Manifest, Synthesis and Special Effects. At the moment for Phase 1, this is only for the main blueprints. We have actually built the infrastructure in here to be able to add all the special effects that you can apply, the experimental effects you can add to your various weapons and frameshift drive. They're going to come during Phase 2, as are all the requirements for synthesis as well. So it will know what you've got on board, and potentially you'll be able to ask for whether you've got enough to synthesize your jumponium, I think people refer to it, or improved damage on your weapons. So those are coming in Phase 2. We've also got the Carrier Manifest item here. Now this is a little bit more tricky because we only get data on the carrier you've just docked with. So we're adding in the facility that when you dock with your own carrier, it will actually update this list here with what you've got on your carrier. Not just in terms of the cargo, but also the materials, the buy-sell lists, and your material elements as well. It won't keep that up to date as people buy and sell elsewhere in the galaxy, because you don't get that information until you actually dock with your own carrier or you access carrier services. So that we can't track quite as live, but we're going to be doing something exciting in there coming soon. Other than that, I know it sounds a bit like, well, there it is. It's all done. That is Ad-Astra 2024 Phase 1. So I'm going to open to the floor and open to the chat channel there. Anybody got any questions? Did I forget anything? Silence. Silence is either really, really good or really, really bad in these circumstances. Well, anyway, if there are no questions, what I'm going to make sure I'm available for is over in the Discord. If you'd rather sort of not speak actually on a live recording and you'd rather ping me the questions, do feel free to ping them over in the Discord channel. For the affiliates, we're looking to get a slightly early release of this one, whether it's this evening or it's tomorrow morning. We may well be able to upload some installers for you such that you can get your hands on it a tiny bit early as well. And we're looking at getting a Sunday release out to the general population of this too. I'm just glancing through any messages. Let's have a quick glance. Nobody's highlighted any to me yet. No questions for the moment. All good here. Woohoo. Well, look, hopefully you like it, everybody. Thank you very much for coming to join us. If you do have questions, do feel free to ping me in the meantime. And I look forward to everybody being able to get their hands on it and start chatting with Ad-Astra and improving their engineering. And thank you once again.